Hello, you're watching News 9 Live. The Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam and its allies held a public meeting today against Tamil Nadu Governor Ravi. The meeting was held in protest against the governor's remarks on the anti-Sterlite protest of 2018 in which 13 people had died due to police firing. Ravi, the Tamil Nadu governor, had said that the protests were entirely funded by foreign money and several countries had sponsored them. The statement was made when the governor was addressing civil service aspirants at the Raj Bhavan. Meanwhile, the DMK has also called for the amendment of the constitution to restrict the governor from not giving assent to bills and to keep it in abeyance. Joining me to speak more on this is S. Muralidharan, who is a political analyst who's going to join us, and also joining me is another guest who shall be joining in a bit. But just before that, let's now go to Muralidharan to speak more on the issue. Mr. Muralidharan, there are two aspects to this issue. One is about, how Ravi spoke about anti-Sterlite protest, which killed, 14 lives and one teenager also died, and said that they were completely foreign funded. The objection that most people had against the Honorable Governor was that did he have any evidence to say such a thing at all? Your comments on this, Mr. Muralidharan.
Okay. The governor has heard in many of the things. I will talk about it later. Now, your specific question was whether they had proof. Yes, they did have proof. One such proof was People's Watch, an NGO in Madurai, who claims to fight for human rights, but they had received,
Seems to be some audio problem.
That was definitely that was a specific incident. So that's what.
Right, and you were saying, Mr. Muralidharan, that some NGO in Madurai had evidence of it. Am I right?
Yes.
That's what.
Yes.
But Mr. Muralidharan, the point is that do you think it's even, the governor is a constitutional post. It's a very respectable post. The point is that is it also in the governor's place, because he did not show any evidence. The problem with a lot of people, I spoke on the other side, because after all they have lost lives, relatives are dead, etc. They said if there was evidence, if it is a proper investigation, we would have been very interested. But just to say something like that is actually insulting us, because, we had just come to protest because of some environmental issues, Mr. Muralidharan.
Yeah, see, that's one side of the story, Sudha. I mean, if you go deep into it,
right.
There was, people who were brought into the protest just to ensure it becomes more chaotic. For a simple reason, they had an agenda to drive behind that to shut down Sterlite. I think it's more to do with Hindutva being Vedanta being a Hindutva supporting organization, etc. But there was some elements of truth in that. It's not that. So you can't call the entire protest was, it was staged. It was not. It was same time you can't say it's holier than thou, because there were two elements who were working against, who provoked the government, who got into the peaceful protest, which lasted for 99 days. On the 100th day, it became turned violent. So if you really have to go into that and ask it, this has happened earlier also. Even in the Jallikattu protest, initially it started as an organic protest,
right.
But last minute, some external forces took over the
entire thing. But then what about
that also?
Yeah, but then what about the Aruna Jagadisan committee report? I mean, you read that.
I mean, that I would like to, discount it, Sudha, for simple reason, they have not gone into the true details. See, if you go to that state, and people of, where the Sterlite is, Sterlite is there, and there were close to some 50,000 people who were employed directly and indirectly.
Okay.
Directly, probably some, 2,000, 3,000 people. But a lot of truckers were moving goods to the, harbor, back to the, because this is 100%, this is only a smeltering plant. They are not doing any production of copper per se. So it's a smeltering plant. So a lot of transport was happening. So a lot of people lost their jobs and livelihood And there were some protests also saying that, we want Sterlite to be opened again. When they realize it's gone out of hand, probably, they were fed money, whatever, to protest. So this is chaotic. We really can't give a clean chute to either side.
No, but
So
then
that's my.
but that is very.
I work. I
You were
work
saying.
with a lot of NGOs, and I also expose FCRA, irregularities.
Yes.
And what happened is we went to an extent of exposing so much. The Home Ministry has pulled down the FCRA returns from the public domain. Can you believe that?
Right.
We were actually helping the government, whistleblowing, but somehow somebody, probably paid off the HMO and, the FCRA division, and they pulled down the public domain reports. Today, you can't whistleblow, you can't pinpoint. A common person cannot go find out fault with any of the NGOs in India because these documents have been taken out from the public
That's a
domain.
very serious charge, and maybe, it requires some investigation. But then the point is that, all I'm saying, and I will wind this because there is another aspect also to R.N. Ravi. The thing is that, it's very unfortunate that for people who were killed, and particularly a child, who was barely 14, who was also killed, I mean, to be mired in a controversy so far as Sterlite is concerned, and in this slugfest, despite a commission which has presented a report, is very, very unfortunate to say the least. I mean, the truth has to come out either way so that there is some kind of a closure for those who lost their lives. Mr. Muralidharan, the other aspect of this public meeting which was held by the DMK is, of course, about, how many bills shall be kept in abeyance by the governor. Now, I mean, according to experts, who are constitutional experts, they say that there is no time limit actually. The governor can take as long as he wants to, as he deems fit. That's the language apparently. When he reads the bill, he sends it back, then he sends it whatever. But now the DMK says, look, there has to be a time limit, because it is, they say that, the onus is on the governor. Otherwise, a lot of issues pertaining to the common person, they are delayed. What are your thoughts about that?
So I would agree with DMK to, I think, most extent, for the simple reason. A governor's job here is to help the state to perform better.
Right.
It's not to cripple the state. So yes, I can point out two places he has actually, erred. One is the Perarivalan case, you remember, right?
Yes.
He was sitting in those bills. That is the only reason Supreme Court got upset and released him.
Okay.
And this is, I mean, I see the misuse of authority.
Okay.
It's sheer arrogance, sitting on bills and saying that if I sit on it forever, it's as good as neglected. Which is true, which is actually constitutionally right and true. If somebody sitting on a bill means whether it's a president or the governor, that becomes stale, and it could, depending on the power of the bill. Okay, if it's a moneyed bill, there's time limits. If it's not a not moneyed bill, it doesn't have a time limit. So whoever the authority can sit on it, and that's as good as neglected. But to come out in open and talk about it, you're not a politician. So that's what the DMK's contention is. You should not be talking about whether it's a Sterlite deaths or these are like, done and done. People have forgotten about it. It's reopening it. And this is not going to help BJP to win votes. Okay. The second time he made a mistake is the Rummy bill. The Rummy bill has a different story altogether. He should have passed it immediately.
Right.
What he has done after, so many days. Instead, he went into, like postmortem, he called the online gaming people. He had a chat with them. People started blaming him, saying that he probably is been
but maybe, but Mr. Muralidharan, maybe he's doing due diligence. But according to the DMK government, there are 21 bills still pending, and some of them have to do with, like, Dr. MGR Medical University and university grants, etc., etc. So I guess this is something that will have to be solved. But for him to expedite this will be a bit of a problem. Thank you so much. I've completely, run out of time. But thank you so much, Mr. Muralidharan, for joining us on the broadcast. So whether it is Tamil Nadu, whether it is Kerala, or whether it is Telangana, the slugfest between the government and the governor keeps going on. That's all I have time for. But for more news and analysis, keep watching News 9 Live.